discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, this video is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering you a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial membership. All you need to do is go to audibletrial.com/BGUnlocked. The link is in the description below, and now enjoy the video. Hey everyone, welcome to the discussion for Smash Up, the bigger, geekier box, I guess. We actually had a huge variety of different factions from different expansions, which is really good. Aliens is from the base game. And then you have the Cyborg Apes, which are from Science Fiction Double Feature. Then Smash Up, big in Japan, is Kaiju. Truckers is that 70s expansion. Steampunk is Awesome Level 9000. And Vikings are Oops, You Did It Again. So we had a lot of variety, which was really good. So Smash Up is a game that's been around for quite some time, and is probably one of the most perfect games out there in terms of just game design, because all it is literal factions that you take two of, shuffle the decks together, and just see what the combinations are. So before we talk about what we thought of the overall game, what did you guys think of your factions, like your deck?
I did not like the Vikings very much. They were not as handy as the Steampunk faction. I can see that. I mean, if you look at the board, I was like only playing my Steampunk faction at the end.
Yeah. And I would agree with there. I think the Vikings would be super helpful, but you have to know other factions. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to know what their cards can do.
Which I'm not going to memorize all 100 factions.
Well, yeah, but like, you can, because, I mean, discard piles are open knowledge to anyone. So if you have cards that mess with people's discard pile, you can be like, can I see your discard pile? Like, in all reality, like, your Steampunk pretty much shut out my Kaiju. Because, like, once you played that Ornate Dome, I couldn't play action cards on bases over there. So I pretty much just had to ignore Ninja Dojo, because a lot of my power comes from my actions that are played on bases. And then your Vikings, also, my deck helped you, because then you just take all the cards that are getting played on bases and you just use them yourself. But that's just one of those things that this game requires you. You have to know other, you have to know what other factions can do, which is what makes the game complicated. Because to play the game is very simple.
Right.
But it's just understanding how your deck works and what all the factions can do. But you didn't like the Vikings?
I just said not as much as the Steampunk.
Gotcha. Do you think they flowed together?
No.
You don't think so?
Not together.
Gotcha.
Not really, because I wasn't ever really using them.
Yeah.
Unless they just happened to be there together, so no, I don't really think that they went, like, together. I also never really got any of my good Viking cards.
Yeah.
I don't think I got anything above, like, a 4.
Well, like, I finally got my 5 at the end of the game. But other than that, like, I just had a shit ton of action cards. There's very, very little minions in the Kaiju deck. Steven, what do you think about yours?
I liked them. I think when I first started out, they seemed underpowered compared to, say, yours, because mine don't really allow you to really build on it. Like yours, you can play extra actions, and I'm always limited to 2 cards on my turn.
Right.
Your minion and your action. So that took a little getting used to, because early on I was kind of waiting around for maybe an extra action card and trying to play my turns. I do think I like the alien cards better. I think the cards like gain 1 VP are pretty like,
right.
When I had 14, I could have won the game.
Yeah, I was terrified you were going to get 1 extra invader and just be like, boom, 15. I'm like...
Right. So I don't think none of the alien cards are especially powerful, but they throw an extra kind of dimension into it that might change the way other players play the game.
Exactly.
More so than yourself.
I know in the alien deck there's a terramorphing card, which you just basically play and then just do away with the base, which can screw a bunch of people over, because if you can be like, oh, there's a 4-pointer that he's going for, let's terramorph that. Now it's worth whatever. Like it's a 2-pointer that comes out, and it's like, well. Because that was pretty much what I was banking on, was higher end points, because I was doing so bad at the beginning of the game.
The other thing I will say about the Cyborg Apes is there's a lot of cards where you can move your minions elsewhere. So you kind of almost have to play I'm gonna call it a parallel type game. So, like I was going after the Ninja Dojo base, but I was playing the cards, so I eventually wanted to move to the base over there.
Right.
Because eventually, once I had the cyberback plus the action that gave you 3 extra points over there. That is 8 points that's kind of sitting over in the side, and I could play a 3 and an action on that to then move the 8 points over and then break the base.
Right.
So there's a lot of strategy that the cyborg apes give you in terms of being able to move stuff around across the board, which I did like.
Yeah, the cyborg apes. I've played with all of these except for truckers and Vikings. I've never played with either of them in decks. Cyborg apes are very interesting because they allow you to just build up just apes with augments,
Correct.
and then they're just disgustingly powerful. And then like you said, yeah, the aliens just are kind of a little unorthodox, but they're not that strong. Did you think they worked well together? The two factions? You don't think so?
I don't think they really there were no actions, like alien actions that really complemented, besides maybe, no, I won't even say that, because a lot of the alien actions are just moving minions back to your hands or back to your decks.
I think
they don't really work well together.
Yeah. I don't know, like, I find, and I didn't play either of these, so obviously it's just speculation based off what cards were played. But, I mean, I would almost argue that with Vikings and Steampunks kind of hold the bases down, and the Vikings just use other people's shit to make that their stuff stronger.
Right.
So I think they work together in that sense. The aliens and cyborg apes, you can augment while the aliens just pop other threats out of the way. So you just kind of have, like, the cards are like almost never really going to complement them directly.
Right.
But I think that you think of, it's more of, I guess what I'm really asking is like, do you think the ultimate theme of the factions complement the other theme of the factions? And the example I can give is both of mine. So I think the truckers and kaiju actually worked really, really well together. For the sole purpose that, like, yeah, directly, no. My truckers only really affected their truckers, kaiju only affected kaiju, except for the fact that a lot of my kaiju cards were played on bases, and then my truckers were all about moving actions played on bases to other bases. So it's like basically I'm playing some insane radioactive breath on a base and then do that ability, destroy all minions, and then it's like, let's say something's happening somewhere else. Oh, okay, well then that's whenever Skinny Mini's going to be played, and then pop the radioactive breath over there.
Which I guess is kind of similar to my moving stuff around as well. I'll say I think the only card really, because like you said, the only alien card that complements the cyborg ape cards, because like you said, you can really build a very powerful ape on any of the decks, is be able to pull cards back to your hand.
Right.
So if I have 10 cards sitting on that base, and it's kind of how the game finished is the alien card gave me the ability to pull that card back to lower the overall sum on that base in the hopes that you wouldn't break it on your turn.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a bunch of different strategies like that, because if you're like, well, I'll pop, because you almost don't want to focus on one base like the entire game, because once you break it, you got some points, but now all your eggs are in that one basket, and then now you're back to nothing. Versus if you spread out. But that's why I really love this game, because once you spread out, then that just means that other people are going to spread out, which means you're going to be fucking each other over and affecting one another. Because the game, in its title, is called Smash Up, and you are going to affect one another. But yeah, so if you do that, and you're like, okay, well, I'll put my 5 over there, because I only had maybe like 7 at that point, then it's like, okay, so I can probably catch up and take it from him. And then once it's like bam, 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 oh, he's at 15, or he's at 13, and I'm at 5 still, okay, it's not even worth my time. Let's pull him out and go somewhere else that'll be more useful.
And that's kind of what I did, is I pulled it out, because then on my turn, since I already played that, for some reason that you didn't break that, I would have broken it with that 5.
Exactly.
And that was my thought process.
Right. It was literally, like, the way the game ended was like one turn away.
Yep,
like, if I didn't break this, you would have broken that and won. And a lot of these games are always relatively that close because of the nature of scoring. Like, if you're like over there, and then let's just say I popped one minion over there, then it's like, oh, well, I'm going to get some points.
Right.
Which is really cool, because you don't ever really have one runaway victor. Because it's like, well, because if you had kept him there, actually, if you had kept him there, I wouldn't have broken that. because I'm like, we would have scored, we would have tied, and then you would have busted
Gotcha.
that. So being like that shared victory point thing, and with how quickly you're just like, oh, look at that, bam, 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 here's my apes and my aliens, I broke 2 bases, you got like 8 points out of nowhere.
Right.
I'm like, I'm at 0, because I wasn't even on those other bases. Cat had like 6. And I'm like, well, crap. So then I had to try and play different and focus on other things, and then I finally was getting cards and combinations, having my truckers move, like, lay down, like, basically level cities with my kaiju to have a hold on it.
It's interesting you said that you wouldn't have broken that deck, and I still would have won because I would have pulled that card over.
Exactly.
So, interesting.
So, and that's the kind of strategy you have to have, because if you, with that 5 there, well, luckily I had the combinations to do it, but if you had kept him there, yes, you would have busted it. Either way, if you had busted the spiky chair room, we would have tied. I wouldn't want to tie because I had all my eggs were in that one basket.
Right.
Like, I wasn't placing anywhere. Here was my mindset strategically. I wasn't placing anywhere. One, because her ornate dome prevented me from messing with Ninja Dojo with anything other than my truckers.
Right, and you're very action-based.
Except, I hate my life. Ornate Dome says other players cannot play actions on this base.
But you can play it on minions.
You play it on minions, yeah. But my kaiju play on bases, but my truckers can move actions. I didn't even think of that I could have still moved my actions over there instead of playing them. But yeah.
That would have taken longer.
Exactly, and then by that time, like, because he had such high points towards the end, my entire thinking was, I'm not going to mess with the other ones. I need 4 points to break, because 2, and I can't guarantee second to get the 3 I needed. And even if I did, you would have gotten 2. You'd be at 16, I'd be at 15, so you would have won. So I put all my eggs in the spiky chair room to get 4 points. If you were there, I was like, well, we'll tie. So, and I actually don't have any, like, move other people's minions, or I have very little destroy other people's minions, so especially not destroy a 5er. So, you actually moving that card caused me to. You essentially helped me win.
I will say the card I was hoping I would draw to kind of talk more about the alien
deck. Is that
deck,
the terraforming one?
Yep. Is you get to search the base deck to pick anyone that you want.
Oh, you get to pick one.
Yep.
Oh.
So search a base deck for a base, swap it with a base in play. So I had that actually in our practice round before this, and my thought was like, is I would play this. Say if we were sitting at 19 here, play it there, search for an 18 or a 19, play it, break it, I get the points.
Yep.
I think that's probably the most powerful alien card.
It's one of them,
which would probably complement any deck.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is Smash Up is such a brilliant game. Like, I have never had a combination that I couldn't figure out how to make it work.
Right.
And sometimes, I mean, I don't know if I can say this game is balanced. I would say it is, but there's literally like over 4,000 combinations you can make just with the nature of the game. There's 59 factions, so that would mean, but to do combinations, you have to do 1 times 2 times 3 times, you have to do basically all that. And I have played my fair share. The shittiest faction that I can think of that I've ever had, or that I thought was going to be bad, is one of the expansions to Smash Up is Munchkin, and it's awful. It's the worst faction in the game. I actually have those factions separated because I'm like, well, I own it, but I'm never going to play with these.
Right.
But before I separated them, I got Munchkin Elves and Sharks. And I was like, this is going to be awful. And it was amazing. Like, I've seen people who get, like, hyper-aggressive decks, where it's like Pirates and Bear Cavalry. And they're disgusting. Pirates are all about destroying minions, while Bear Cavalry are all about, hey, you cannot play minions here. And they're also high level. Whenever we did, there was one faction I got that was all about, hey, I'm going to play this card, you guys let me do an extra action or take Madness.
Gotcha.
So it makes people take Madness cards, so by the end of it, you're getting like -4 points.
Right.
And it also, those cards clog up your deck in your hand. So I don't know. I've had like they're all like off-brand things. I've had Power Rangers and superheroes. which it's just, and then I think I still ended up losing that one. The only negative I have for Smash Up is the game can still kind of go in certain players' favor just based off the nature of drawing.
Yep.
It's a deck game, so you kind of just expect that, but like there are times where you can draw, like, because my opening hand was like 4 actions and a minion. It's like, well, I can't scrap it. I have a minion. But then you can just literally just be the entire game.
Yep.
Action, action. Actually, that's what I'm doing now.
Well, that's what happened to me it was either early in this round or the round we played before we started recording this. I had just all actions in my hands.
That's what I was hoping.
I would play one, and then I would get 2 more actions. I'm like, it was really just slugging my
and that's what I was hoping that was happening to you, because you popped off so quickly.
Right.
I'm like, he has to be burning out at some point.
I actually had pretty good hands. That didn't happen to me later on this game. I actually maintained a pretty good hand. I just didn't quite get it to my strategy to progress the way I wanted it.
Yeah, but I have had that happen to me, and I've seen it happen to other people where they get just actions.
Right.
Or even just minions, but hell, even minions allow you to be on the board.
Yep.
Actions are really, sometimes, are only helpful if you have minions to play them on or affect other people's stuff. That's why I love the kaiju, because it's like, well, I have actions. Oh wait, they give me power there. Like it wade through the buildings. Okay, well, I'll just play that. I have 4 power there. What things do you guys not like about the game? Kat, you've been awfully quiet.
Well, yeah. I guess just, it's not really a big deal. It can just be too random sometimes. And you can get dealt just a shit hand, like, in general. Like, let's say I had something other than the Vikings, but, like, it just really didn't mesh with anyone's.
Yeah.
And it happens, and it's like you're halfway through the game and you realize that, and you're like, well, neat.
Right.
Like, I guess I'll just have my 1 point the whole time.
Yeah, there are some factions in here that it's like, ugh.
It happens.
Like, it's like, crap, I got that.
Yeah.
From the base game, a lot of people hate ninjas. But I personally like them because they have a lot of effects that are like special effects that are like, when this base breaks, kill a minion and place one of your own, so you can hold powerful minions and then wipe someone's minion and replace them. And it's like, oh, I actually have the most now. But every single faction plays different, which I think is awesome.
Yep.
So, I mean, hell, we could even, like, with these 6, you have like 30 different combinations you can make. Like, we could easily just be like, okay, well, it's going to be kaiju and Vikings and steampunk and aliens and then cyborg apes and traitors, and the game would play different. It would be a different combinations of effects and powers. The way the bases are with their special abilities also makes the game a lot of fun, because it's like this one, the factory, like, it's worth 2 points, so it's like, oh, that's not that appealing. But then it's like, wait a minute, if you win, you get 1 point for every 5 power there.
Right.
So if you have 15 power there, you're getting 5 points.
Right.
And that's a lot.
And because the score is 25, you might have 20 there.
Yeah,
you know?
and so that would be 6 points.
Right.
To counter-argue the randomness of the game, which I agree is there, the game's so short. Like, 15 points is not a lot.
I would say that's one of my dislikes.
I was going to agree with you.
I would say, so 2 dislikes that come right to mind. So first off, like I just said, is the score limit. I think it should be higher.
I do too.
I think
it should be 5. I think it should be lower.
I think even just 20 would be, because I think the first 2 cards I got were like a 6 and a 4 maybe.
Yeah.
So right there, I was already 2/3 of the way there.
Yeah.
And then we could have easily had a base with a first place score of 5 on the board.
Yep.
And so you could really win with just 3 bases.
Yeah.
And with such a low score limit, if you draw a great hand to start off with, you can basically surge ahead to where you might not be able to catch up. So I think raising it, and I guess you could always just play. You don't have to play to 15.
No,
you can play to whatever you want.
Yeah, you could easily. That's the thing. It's like, that's just what the game says. It's 15 points. You could just be like, we're playing 20.
Right.
And the game wouldn't change. Yeah.
Right. And then the game really doesn't change. I think the other thing I would say, and I don't like, and maybe that's just the nature of the game, is because all the factions are so different, you never really get a grasp for what the other person's faction, how they play. So it's harder to form your strategy. It's harder for me to form a strategy when I don't really know what your cards are going to play.
Yep.
Because I may play, I'm going to play an ape over there with 5 power and a an action on it, and then you may play a card that says I'm just going to take that or something.
Yeah.
That's something I just can't really prepare for, and like I said, that's kind of the nature of the game in a way.
It is.
But I'd say that's one of the things that I disliked.
That's fair. And that's probably why some people do dislike Smash Up, because, like, I've played with multiple factions and multiple times, and so I don't even know what faction, it's like I don't remember what half the cards in the alien deck is. I just remember kind of, like, pretty much the best way to prep for this is you just kind of know what that faction can do, versus what specific card can screw me over. Because that would be that could be an argument made for any card game, like literally any type of, like, Magic the Gathering or any of those games where it's like, well, I don't know what cards you have, so I can't prep for that. Right. You just kind of, these kinds of games are just meant to be reactionary versus proactive.
And I guess like you mentioned, the overall kind of theming of the faction. Like, yours is clearly very action based. So her playing this ornate dome, which blocks basically all actions.
Yep.
You can still kind of strategize against the other player.
Yeah. I mean, because I had cards that took control of that, and I thought about doing that multiple times just to go over there. But then I'm like, well, I'm trying to break this base, and I don't want to pull that over here because I need to put actions on that base, so I never messed with it because I'm like, it's still going to hurt me. I don't know. I like the nature of the game a lot. I mean, I definitely see why those are negatives of yours. But there's just stuff that it doesn't bother me. Because the game is so quick, even if you do get screwed, and that might be why it's 15 and not anything higher, because imagine if, you can just play again and be like, oh, okay, I kind of know what your deck is. Right. Or the other dislike people might have is, well, I don't know what my factions do. Right. And I have a randomizer, so the way the game actually has worked for setup is you put out, I can't remember, 8 factions, and you do a snake draft, meaning I pick one, Cat picks one, you pick your second one, her and me. Gotcha. The reason why I don't like that is because Cat's played it a few times, you're relatively new, I'm the most experienced player, so I can look at it and be like, okay, I know which ones I want. Right. And I know what's going to work well. Right. So I think it's very in favor of experienced players. My randomizer app on my phone, which is actually a Smash Up randomizer, I just put in how many players, and it tells me, all right, here's player 1's 2, and then, so that's all I did. Which I think, and that's my house rule anyway, if there's factions or characters or anything, it's always going to be random, because I like the idea of being handed something and be like, win with this. Right. Strategize with this. Yep. Because whenever I did the tournament at Gen Con, it was a snake draft, and weirdly enough, by the time it got to me, I was at the end, which can be great because you get to pick your 2. Right. I picked wizards and gnomes, and those are the 2 factions that just, like, gnomes just kind of fuck with bases once again, but in different ways, and wizards just give you shit ton of cards and multiple actions. Gotcha. So it's just I didn't win. I came second in that tournament, but, like, I was just an asshole the entire time. But yeah, Smash Up is one of my favorite games. It's always kind of a go-to to play, because it's like, all right, here's your 2, shuffle the decks, and then we'll play. You got anything
for
the game? Do you like this game? I don't even know if you like this game.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, I haven't played it in a long time,
last time you probably played it was when we recorded it.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think I was just caught off guard with, like, not really remembering if I liked it to begin with or not. Like, I think it's cool. Like, I think the options are neat. I think it's funny. I think the characters are, like, you could get, the cats and like, literally anything.
Yeah, they have kitty cat. You can get kitty cats and Transformers.
Like, one time I think I had, it was either the cats and the fairies, or sorry, it was one of the 2 with ghosts. Yep. But I think it was like the fairies with ghosts or something like that.
I think so too. You were ghost fairies in that recording.
And it was funny. But, like, it's okay. Now that I replay it, I think it is better, like, the more people you add. Because that way you're not just going in, like, a circle of just, like, I'll fuck you, and then I'll fuck you next, and then I'll fuck you, and then I'll fuck you. Because I don't want to, like, just target one person.
That's so funny. I'm so glad you brought that up, because I would personally disagree. I think this is one of the few games, like, that are at best with 3 players. because at 2, not enough is going on, because the number of bases are equal to the players plus 1.
Right.
So at 2 players, not enough is going on, and at 4 players, almost too much is going on that you can't keep track of what's going on. And it's like, oh, what's happening over here on this base? Crap, I completely missed that.
Right.
At 3 players, I think it's just right, because at least the way I play, I don't target someone just to just fuck you. I'm going to target you. I target them based off of, 1, points, because if you have a lot of points, like, I don't want you to win.
Right.
But also, it's based off of where you're at. And just, okay, well, I want to go there to that base. You happen to be there. Let's just get rid of your stuff, or let's move you, or just mess with you in another way. And I was going to bring that up because some people need 3-player games, and I think Smash Up is definitely one of those
I would
games.
agree with that.
But yeah, I think last time you played was the last time we recorded this, which was a 4-player game, and I didn't want to do that again. So yeah. Scale 1 to 10.
I'll give it a.
Actually, sorry, real quick, I meant to bring this up. It's because not every faction has this, and I hope they do, because they did a Titan kit, which gave some other factions more Titans. Do you guys think that this Titan was OP?
Yes.
You do?
I'd say if you're the only one that has a Titan, that's not
Yes.
fair.
I would say I would fully agree with Kat in that I think there shouldn't be one player with a Titan. I think it should be all or none.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I can't arm wrestle 4, you know what I mean?
Right. I wanted to, because I thought the same thing. I'm like, I don't know if that's going to work. Like, if I'm the only one with a Titan. So I really did that for just kind of demonstration purposes. My only argument that says that he's not OP and is because he's only one person on one base. I can only affect him if I'm playing minions and actions on one base. So it's like, yeah, but he's still a minion. Oh, no, he's not. No, he's not. He's a Titan. So.
Right, and I think that's where my opinion comes from, is because he is a Titan, you cannot, none of my cards are, and I don't know about her.
We don't target Titans.
I can't target Titans, so I can't move. So I think it'd be really interesting if he was a minion or something, and I could move him to another base. Yeah, you maintain those points, but
but it also works for me. I can't boost him with minion cards. The only way I could have actually, like, if I was like, let's say I powered him up, like I was like bam, 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 bam. Because he goes away once a base breaks. So let's just say I powered him up. The only card I had was they say he's got to go, and it just says move a Titan to another base.
Gotcha.
So it's like, oh, haha, now I'm over here.
Right.
So all Titans really do is they just kind of affect the base that they're on, which is good. But it's like I'm still eggs in one basket.
Right.
That would be my argument. But you're right. Like, if other games, or if other factions came in with more Titans, then if they go on the spot, you have a Titan clash.
Right.
And then they just fight each other. In fact, the Indiana Jones faction, their Titan is the big ball from the movie.
Gotcha.
Which I think is really funny. But the Power Rangers, they have the, whatever Power Rangers robot, I can't remember his name. But, so they all do something. The Princess has like a moving castle, something like that, the Princess faction. But I do agree. I hope that they do it like more Titan event kits that just give every faction a Titan, because it'd be really cool. I was just curious because I wanted to bring that up.
Like, he's not OP, but he's still something that we don't have, even if he is just
he's an extra thing.
He's an extra kind of card in your strategy that we don't have.
Yep.
And nothing that we can really use to our advantage in any way, or really for that matter protect from.
Yeah.
There's no cards in my deck that I could prevent his ability, or I mean, if they threw a negate Titan's abilities on in the space or something, card into some of the decks, that would
or
be
like a
cool.
rule that says Titans are also minions. But then I would think that would just make them super weak.
Then that would make
because then it's like, okay, I'm gonna place him here, and then I have 1 power, and you're like, destroy minion power 2 or less.
Yeah, no,
boom,
that
it's
would.
like I have nothing for him.
That's too much.
Or even wording within the bases, like you could say, oh, when this base is destroyed, Titan points don't count towards the and they could kind of incorporate maybe in the bases or throw a little bit extra.
I think it also didn't help that so all the kaiju cards are base related. Then I pop him in because there's 2 actions there, so then I play more actions there to power him up. But then once again, eggs in one basket. Hey, I won this. Great. I'm getting 2 points. Now all of that's gone.
Right.
But that's why the truckers complemented this so well, because it's like, okay, well, I'm going to have my truckers move all those actions over there.
Right.
But other than that, yeah, like, he's stuck there. I can't willingly move him. I can't do any of that. So I could definitely see, though, it's like, hey, you have an extra thing. Whether it's super OP, it's still a slight advantage that we don't have. Right. I can see that. But anyway, a scale of...
I'll probably give it... I'll probably give it a 7.
A 7?
Yeah, because I think 6 is too low.
Yeah. I was really worried you were going to give it a 6.
I'm going to give it a 2, actually. No,
I fucking hate it.
I'm going to go burn this. No. Oh, Steven, take this with you tonight. Well, no.
Yeah, let's burn it.
No, I think a 6 is too low. I just think I didn't really care for the Vikings and steampunk, so I don't want that to, like, skew my opinion.
Fair. Yeah, I was gonna say, because you can love or hate this game literally based off
your faction. Because I still want to play it again, because I know that I had fun when I was the fairies and ghosts. Like, I know that it can be fun. I just think I didn't care for the Vikings with the steampunks. I really like the steampunks.
Steampunks are good.
I'll give it a 7.
Okay. I think that's a fair score.
I'll drop it.
Stefan?
I'll give it an 8.
An 8?
I was kind of teetering between an 8 and 8.5. I really like games that are quicker. Not that that's all I want to play, but I think it's nice when you say, hey, we got an hour to kill.
Yep.
What can we do? And a lot of games kind of teeter on that hour and a half.
Right.
Or, I mean, I think we played this in maybe a half hour.
It was
about 45 minutes.
So,
and that was with me being newer. I was naturally taking longer to play my hands. I can do that in all my games, but I think especially because there's so much to read on each card.
Yeah, that's also true. I'm really glad, though, that they have text on all the cards and not act or symbols.
God, symbols, so you have to constantly... And I will say that's a positive is I never once had to reference the rule book.
Right.
I might have asked a question like
there's sometimes you can have weird timing where it's like, okay, so how does this work? And then you can reference this. But with the bigger, geekier box, you have this comprehensive rule book that everything's in it, which is just really nice.
But we've played games where we're basically passing the rule book around every single turn.
Yeah.
I think that takes away from being able to absorb yourself into the game. I like that it's going to be different every time you play it. That's another thing I really enjoy with.
Even if you got the same faction. Like, your two factions would play different based off of what everyone else is playing.
And whether it's board games, video games, I like ones that you can play differently each time, or that do play differently each time, and this definitely checks that box. So I do like that. I already kind of expressed what I thought were the negatives, so I'm not going to reiterate those. But yeah, I'd say an 8.
An 8. I'm going to give it a 9.5. This has been one of my favorites since I've played it, and it's always very, very high on lists. And the more I play it, like, I can't think of a time where I had a bad time playing the game. Mainly for the reason you said is that it's short. Like, you want to look for those, and they're called filler games, where it's like, okay, well, either filler games are like, well, here's a big heavy game, let's play a lighter one. If you're doing game days, here's a big one, let's do a light fun one, and then go back to a big game to kind of ease everyone out. Or we have 30 minutes to kill. What do you want to play?
Yeah, or like you're stuck in a hotel room. Like, I know we went to Green Bay, and you brought your board games. Unfortunately, you brought bad ones.
I brought Lords of Waterdeep and Unfair.
Yeah, Unfair was the worst time I've ever had.
Unfair,
yeah, they're good for like if you're stuck in on like a shitty rainy day or something, and or like you just have nothing else to do.
Or like, and sometimes not filler games, but sometimes games can be short, like an hour, but its setup's 30 minutes. Some games I've had that it took longer to set up than to play, and I don't like those games.
So you have to play like 5 games to feel like you it's worth it.
And Smash Up, like, I mean, really the only thing that makes this a setup is you have to pull the mat out. This one is just like, okay, let's play Smash Up. The app, and here are your factions. Boom, let's just shuffle the base deck, and we'll just play from here.
Yeah, and then at the end, like, you have to separate your cards. Oh no. And then you just put it back in. Yeah, super easy.
I mean...
Which, that's good for people, because I will say that I fucking hate setting up games. Like, I'm scarred for life from Escape Plan. Because I skipped a page in the rulebook on the setup, and I had no clue what anything was.
It's so funny that the component page, when you went to set that up, like, actually messed, because I never look at the component page.
I was like, where the fuck
I'm just like, alright, straight to setup. Oh, here's what I need in here.
Well, its cards weren't separated either.
Oh, that's right.
So I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know what this is. But like the fact that like I could set this up and be like, I know what this faction is, I know what that faction is. So just pull them out and put them on the board.
You know, I'm actually gonna pull back. I'm gonna give this a 10. I think Smash Up is borderline perfection for me because of just what I said. I've never played a game of Smash Up where I didn't have a great time.
That's true.
I've never been handed two factions where there's been times where I'm like, oh fuck, these two, this is gonna suck, and then I'm like, this is amazing. I've been able to bring this down and play it with 4 people total, and we just have a blast playing it. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I mean, I could have some negatives. You could get like, oh well, I'm only getting actions, but the game's so short, you can easily play it again. If you don't like your faction, your combination, either learn them and figure out, because I guarantee you that there's a strategy with each one, even if you're like, these don't really work together. Yeah. I guarantee you they probably do at some point.
You start to notice a theme among them, because they all have a theme.
You're like, these have to blend in some way.
Yeah.
Or, if you can't figure it out, and you're like, okay, well, I'll try these two. Mm-hmm. And if people do the draft, then that's fine. Then you can be like, because one of the best factions, I think, is zombies. And zombies, you play minions from your discard pile.
Yeah. It's
and
a good
they're
game.
Annoying.
It's a good game to not take seriously as well.
Yes. If you do take this game like way seriously, you're gonna have a bad time because it is cutthroat. But it's not one of those fuck you cutthroat games. It's just like, all right, let's just like whenever it's like, oh, that's a +5 if you have a minion in there.
Yeah.
That seems very nice too. And I mean, there's no theme to the game, like because it's all abstract. But you could kind of delve into it. It's like, wow, look at Gorgonzola with your jetpack card on him, and you could kind of, but it's very loose. I think the theme is like they're making. I think I've heard it was like you're making a movie and this is all these different combinations just fighting each other.
Oh, that's funny, like the ultimate action movie.
I think so. I think
the
that was the
ultimate
theme
monster movie
behind it.
Coming out summer 2000.
There's just so many different factions and they're all fucking fun. The fan faction or the geek faction, they all have a bunch of magic references. And that's the other thing, is the game's almost kind of funny. Because you can look at the art, which the artwork's amazing, and you can see things from other factions.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, like I had the Raider party, and they were all wearing like party hats, but also like Autobot, his tag says "roll out."
Yeah, and like they're all like off-brand, like this faction here, that's meant to be Star Wars.
Female Leia.
There's a Star Trek one, and I mean, you're not. And you've never seen Star Wars, right? But there's a Star Trek one where it's like, because in Star Trek, red shirts, they always die, and they reference that in their cards. So there's a bunch of references. The cards are funny. There's references between all the factions. I think it's fantastic. I absolutely love this game, so it's a 10 out of 10 for me. So, that's it, everyone. 10, 8, 7. I think that's a pretty good blend. That brings it to an average of 8. Mm-hmm. So let us know what you think of Smash Up in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this, and if you like this video, then click the subscribe button below to enjoy any video that I put out. And right next to that subscribe button is a little bell. Click that so you get notified of whenever I actually upload these videos. If you want to support the channel, you can definitely visit my Patreon page. The link is in the description below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.